I like Cowick. I liked him when he wasn't when he didn't suffer the red mist. I thought he was a good player, especially in the sort of latter half of the season. Some of his goals were lovely, and again, he was a pretty gritty player. But just the red mist descended, and that's when some silly things happened, which ultimately didn't do us any favours. But I think with a suitable control over his emotions, which he managed a lot of the time, especially after some of the misdemeanours, then he was a pretty effective player for us. So, again, the thing about forwards is that there's a lot more of them around, and you're obviously hoping that we can replace him with something better. But yeah, I liked him, and I think if he had been coming back, I would have been quite happy about that. But that's is what it is. But yeah, I liked him.
Jennifer, do we suffer? The Corey Cowicks of this world suffer because we label him as a power forward. Do they suffer because we had probably the best season that Lee Salters played in the UK in that position as a power forward, and everybody that comes into Braehead gets compared to that version of Lee Salters? And is that unfair?
Very unfair, because you know my opinion of Lee Salters.
Will we stop recording for a minute?
No, it's okay. I can
right,
keep going.
Right.
I'm all right. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. No, I mean, just where do we go with Salters? Just honestly, that whole team that year was just phenomenal. But he certainly was a stand out and out. And like even every single one of us, we've never seen another player who plays the same way that he does. So we can only hope that the new guy has more contacts that can find us the new Lee Salters.
Yep. Stephen, Corey.
I don't know. I can't decide because he was a really good player.
He had his moments, but he had his other moments as well for me. So
he was a bampot half the time as well. I
don't mind a bit of bampottery sometimes. It shows he cares.
It does, but he, I don't know. I can't decide because he was a really good player. But the thing with Edinburgh, with whatever Still brother they had, there's too many of them, and I can't remember what one, Jordan. And then the whole thing with pushing linesmen, I know that was daft, but it wasn't like career threatening for the linesman or anything, but it was still really stupid. And just things like that. And when you had Rosehill in the ice with him to pull him away from all that stuff, he was really effective and he scored some really good goals, but you shouldn't have someone on the ice for your team babysitting him to make sure he doesn't go over the line. I mean, good player, done well for us, but I'm not overly sad that he's gone.
Yeah, I have to say I'm kind of on the fence with Corey. I'm kind of. I did quite enjoy watching him, but I'm kind of also looking forward to maybe if we get another power forward to see how he measures up. Jennifer, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Cowick as well, once he kind of got settled with the line where Peacock was centre and Levitt was taking up the other wing, I think they actually did really well, but I think we will see all new faces with the imports.
We'll maybe come to that. Lee Baldwin has joined Corey Cowick in Espinal in France. Does anybody want to take that one up? Lee Baldwin?
Good luck to him.
Good luck to him. Good luck to Lee Baldwin. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. Stephen?
Good luck to Epinal or whatever.
Don't hold back in saying what you think.
He was terrible.
He wasn't my favourite ever Clan D man, I'll go that far. I used to... No, I'm not even going to say what I used to say. Jennifer, Lee Baldwin.
I want to purchase him a French phrase book to say bye-bye.
Au revoir. Maybe not.
Au revoir. Au revoir.
Au revoir. I think we'll leave it at that. Probably the most disappointing wave goodbye so far in terms of players is Jay Rosehill. I think we all kind of thought, you'd heard them making comments during the season about how he enjoyed playing for Ryan and blah, 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 blah. And obviously the lure of Braehead just wasn't enough to keep him here. And he was off his totter to Manchester. Disappointing, Graham?
Yeah, absolutely. I perhaps wasn't the biggest Rosehill fan. I can always remember a couple of occasions, especially I think we talked about it in the podcast at the time. I think we had some issues with the goalie getting run, and he was on the ice at the time and didn't really seem to do anything. So, whether that was under orders or whatever, but that for me wasn't him fulfilling the role that he was there to do. But there's no doubt he was a very, very, very good player. And okay, he didn't fight a lot, but he was that tough presence on the ice. So that kind of dissuaded other teams from trying anything. So great presence on the ice, as I say, good player. Still a player that's easy to be kind of 50-50 on, I think, in some respects. It depends what you expected of him. As an out-and-out old-style enforcer, that's obviously not the job that he was here to do. He was told that he could actually play some hockey. So I think, by and large, he ticked that box. So, yeah, I'm sad to see him go. But again, as ever with that kind of that type of player, it's interesting to see whether or not we can replace him with something as good, if maybe not a little bit better. Don't know. But yeah, sad to see him go. I'd certainly rather have kept him. But as you said, it's clear that he's followed Finner down the M74, M6, and it'll be interesting to see how that Storm team shapes up. But it'll be good to see him back in Braehead, and we'll have some feisty encounters with him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of things about J. Rosa that stood out for me. He seemed to be able to police the ice without having to fight. His presence sometimes, I think, stopped things developing. But there were other times where you said to the goalie, maybe we felt the goalie had been run and there was no reaction. Maybe that, as you said, was team orders. But sometimes I felt it was disappointing because you're kind of hoping that these things wouldn't happen. But again, we don't know the team instructions behind the ice. Generally speaking, I mean, when we spoke to Ryan at the end of the season, he basically told us in many words, and he said, G. Rosehill's the one you want back. So when it was obvious he was going to Manchester, you've got to put two and two together and say, well, he's obviously going to go for this guy because he rates him. So there's got to be, that's the stuff that the fans will never find out. What is the intangible, what's going on behind the scenes in the dressing room that's making him such a wanted player? I don't know, Stephen, what were your thoughts on Jay?
It's hard to figure out whether this will be a big miss for us or not in terms of, well, we don't know what his salary is. If he was on a high salary, I don't think he really merited coming back for that.
There was not
same
a lot of point
salary.
production, but I mean, points aren't everything. But yeah, you're right. For the amount of money you assume he was going to be getting, there wasn't a lot of points production.
No, I know. I said this all last season as well. He created space by just being a big body in front of goalies, and he did bring other things. But maybe Gareth and the new coach think they can get something similar for less money or something better for the same money. So it's really hard to tell. But I mean, I was a fan of Rosehill going back to his days with Toronto. So I was always a fan of watching him, and I was interested to see what he could do. And it's a big signing for Storm. I think, in terms of on-ice presence, it's a big loss for us. But again, it's hard to tell how much of a loss it will be in terms of what we're going to do to rectify it. But Storm are signing a lot of tough guys just now. So it's like it's just going to be a typical Finner team.
They're tooling up, as you say.
Yeah, they definitely are. So yeah, I'm sure we'll try and counter it, but I guess we'll see when we play Manchester if he is a massive loss or not, and it's probably not going to be able to tell before then. But I wasn't a big Fitzgerald fan, and then look what happened the season that he left us. It was a big loss. So
is that right, Jennifer? Do you think he's one of these players that we might not know how much we miss him until he's gone?
I think so, but he was also injured for quite some time as well, and having broken a foot as well. And I mean, I'm 4 months down the line since I broke my foot, and I'm still getting pain, and I'm not the one who plays hockey for a living. So, he perhaps didn't get a chance to do. And you know what it was like? He was pushed from forward, defence, and everywhere, so he never really actually found a place to get settled. So no doubt Finner will know what the guy's capable of and probably slot him into the lineup a little bit better. So I think he probably will. But obviously with Rosie, look at the contacts that he's got. That guy, that forward that they've signed, looks absolutely phenomenal. Mm. But on the other hand, they do have Clemente at the back, and we know how. Well, we know what to expect there, sort of thing. So yeah, kind of conflicted about that.
Yep, so it's kind of probably, I mean, apart from maybe the retired players, I'd say, Jay Rosehill so far has been the one that's been the hardest one to wave goodbye to. Is that a fair enough assumption so far?
So far.
And that's where we get worried, because that's so far. Obviously, we're waving goodbye.
We don't need to continue the conversation now, do we?
Yeah,
right,
we do. We're saying goodbye to that infinity as well. And it's got to be said, you've got the players that we have from last year that you'd like to bring back: Scott Pitt, Matt Baker, Mike Hammond, if he can go over his injury from last season. These are the players that you think are up for grabs, and if the new coach wanted them, if Ryan wants them, it's going to be. This is where we obviously spoke to Ryan in the last podcast, or not the last to the one, but we've had one in between. We haven't really actually talked about this effect though that it's going to have, and we're starting to see it now with the likes of Jay going down. We put some Twitter stuff out, and Paul Smith said he was a valuable asset for the Storm, or he will be a valuable asset for the Storm, and should push the club. Graham, he probably is ideal for Manchester Storm right now, the way he was for us when we were at season, was it season 4 came in, sorry. Manchester are really ready for Ryan Finnerty, and I think he'll do a great job down there, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there's been a lot of talk about how good Omar Pasha was. Omar Pasha, you would probably say, was maybe the ideal player coach for the Storm just to set out with, and they've got this identity already. So I'm not saying like Simsy now, but they've got the identity of being a nice club. When you go, it's a nice visit. It's, the staff are nice and relatively nice surroundings and everything else. And they had a decent team, which could give you some problems, but, skillful, fast, but nevertheless, normally you would expect to be beating them. Totally different next season, absolutely totally different. And as you said before, yeah, we can guess what kind of team and what kind of style that they're going to be. The early signings already show that. I think obviously the new ownership, I think there's a statement of intent there as far as the signings that they've produced so far. So yeah, I think Ryan is the ideal coach for the Storm to move on. They've had a couple of sellouts, but they want to sell out that place every week. And I think under Finner they can possibly do that, because I think they are going to play the kind of hockey that a lot of fans, they want to see. People come and visit, give it a go, and they want to come back for more. And he's been quite. Both himself and Gordon, the new owner, they've been absolutely upfront about the fact that they want Silver Blades to be, Fortress Storm, if you like. They want the shelter to be a place that, you're going to come out of there after a battle and potentially with no points as well. That's the kind of setup that they want down there. So, so far so good. And yeah, Finner's the man to do just that. So, yeah, look, as you say, we spoke to him, and we've already mentioned it in this podcast as well. He said to himself it was probably the right time to move on. So, leaving aside all the song and dancing that went on around it, he thinks that. Most fans think that. Even as a fan, I think that. So, yeah, as I said before, it's just going to be now great when the Manchester Storm come to Braehead, because what needle games they're going to be. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. He'll enjoy it. We'll enjoy it. It's going to be great. A whole new rivalry, as in real rivalry. So yeah. Terrific. It's going to be excellent.
No more nicey Manchester.
No
more. Frank Henry said he did a good job for us, took us up a level, so I wish him all the best. Stephen, he did take us up another level, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely. As Graham said, I think he was the right coach for us at the right time. We came off a complete disaster of a season, and we got someone in who came in, stabled the ship and built it there. And, it's, when you think about it, 4 years is a long time as a coach at one club, especially when that's half their existence. So, I think he was right. If he thinks it's time to move on, I think it probably was time to move on for the clan perspective as well, and I wish him best of luck, except against us, obviously. Yeah. But as Graham said, the games against Manchester are going to get a whole lot more interesting now.
Andy Stevenson, he says his time is up, and it seems he's been planning his escape anyway. It's a bit rough, but
just on that point.
Yeah, go on you go.
Think of all the people that accuse Finner of having no